Hey y'all, welcome back to Whiskey Book. This week we're doing part 2 of our Holmgänge series for the Blood Sworn Saga, book number 2, Hunger of the Gods. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome back. So what do we have this time? Well, it's a continuation. Last time we did book 1 of the Bloodsworn Saga. That was Shadow of the Gods, and we were welcome to a Viking world, high fantasy world, which is kind of cool because most high fantasy is European in nature, and so to bring in the Norse was pretty freaking cool, in my opinion. And in that battle is the first book, so we did the 90 proof battle, the Holmgänge, which, as I said in the last series, is a Holmgänge was when you had two warriors battle it out one-on-one, and they could do it, I didn't say this last time, but the Holmgänge, usually the person who was challenged, it was a challenge from one warrior to another. Challenge would pick, is it first cut, is it submission, is it to the death? And this time, this Holmgänge, we're raising the stakes. We're going from 90 proof to 100 proof. So again, the book we have this week, Hunger of the Gods, author John Gwynne. And this book continues our journey with Orca, the maiden warrior, shield maiden, if you will. There's some things I don't want to go into to spoil the book, but there's some reasons that Orca's pretty bad A, if you know what I'm saying. Also, Varg, who is the thrall. Thrall was a slave in Old Norse, in Scandinavian lands. They were not treated well. They were obviously slaves. Some treated better than others, as you might find in this book. But Thrall was not. He and his sister, something happens. He runs away, barely gets away, and becomes part of the Bloodsworn, which is one of the battle groups in the book. The book centers around two main battle groups, the Bloodsworn and the Battle Grim. They're two, at first you might think they're the same kind of sort of team, battle group of warriors. They're both mercenary groups that do different things, but as you get through the book, you'll find that Bloodsworn, let's just say blood is a big hint that they're a little different. So Varg, he joins the Bloodsworn because there may be something about him that allows him to be in that group, and he goes from thrall farmer with no idea what to do. He's called Varg the Witless. Well, not Varg the Witless. What is he? He is Varg the Senseless, because he makes a lot of funny decisions because he doesn't know what he's doing. But he's turning into a pretty good warrior. And this is kind of his journey, which is kind of cool to see, because everybody else seems to be this established kick-butt, you-know-what warrior who can do everything. He's got to learn, and it's kind of neat to see. So we are through into Hunger of the Gods. We were talking about Orca, Varg, and Elvar, the three main characters. That's the three chapter, the good guys. That was the worst quotes ever. Good guys that this book follows. It also adds two baddies to the chapter list in Gunvar and Bjor. I can never pronounce that. Bjor. Bjor is a conflicted individual. He's made some choices. Pretty dang good warrior. I kind of get the feeling that there may be more to Bjor than where we're going with this book. Just an idea. It could, maybe not. But he's done some things, and I think he regrets them. Gudvar is kind of a little weasel. He's the coward, the one who seems to get out of everything with just enough wit to get by. Just enough bravery when needed, but doesn't possess a lot of it. And you kind of cheer for him to maybe not make it. Gudvar's a little craphead. And both Gudvar and Bjor, well, the Battle Grim and the Bloodsworn Some members in each one of those groups have sworn oaths to take out Gudvar and Bjor, and we'll have to see how that plays out, because oaths play a huge role in this culture. You know what? Let's just rock the prose of this book, and then we'll see what we're going with the bourbons tonight. The pros are the pros. John Gwynne writes a beautiful story. His verbiage is awesome. His intellect, his knowledge of the Norse culture. He does cosplay in full battle rattle gear. Better battles in this book. The first book, my criticism was, which blew me away, because John Gwynne in his last series, The Faithful and the Fallen, and the next series after that, just kills the battles. They're just vivid, blow by blow strikes, this, that. The Shadow of the Gods, I mentioned it as a Batman, like the bow, kapang, bap. That's kind of what I got out of that book, and it was okay. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't up to John Gwynne's usual. And this book, okay, this one remedies that. Again, I said in the first book, there's times when that is there, and there's times when it's not. And in this book, it's there. It's really awesome. John Gwynne can write a battle, and it feels visceral. It feels awesome. Is it as visceral as our bourbons? Well, this is the second book. It's a better book in my opinion. So we're going to relate that to some bourbons. We're going to step up to, last time was around the 90 proof. We're going to go 100 proof. So we got some bottled and bond here. We got some 100 proof here. And let's see what we got. First up is the newbie. Yeah, we're going to start from the kind of the cheapest and move up from there. This is Benchmark Bonded. This is a new release by Buffalo Trace. I know, the big name. What this is a bottled and bond, so it's at least 4 years old. It's 100 proof. It's got some other things going for it. It's one of 6 offerings in this Benchmark series. They have the original. They have the top shelf. Small batch. This bonded one is right in the middle at 100 proof. The other ones are lower proof than that. They all kind of go up from there. The full proof, which I think is 120 proof banger, and then the single barrel. I'm excited. I have the full proof and single barrel. I'll get into those later, but that's not today's. This thing was right around $19 where I live. Next up in the bottled and bond series from Jim Beam, we have Old Grandad Bonded. Now, in a lot of the bourbon channels, I hear a lot about Old Grandad 114, and that stuff's pretty good. I kind of like this bonded stuff too, but I haven't had it in a while, so we're going to see how well it goes here. Again, Jim Beam distilled. It's actually distilled by Old Grandad Distillery, but its a parent company is Jim Beam. Next, as we go up in price, is Rowan's Creek. Throwing in a little flyer, and as you can see, got a little story behind this. I've drank quite a bit of this. Rowan's Creek is sometimes considered the little brother of Noah's Mill, which is a Willet distillery product. This is 101 proof, so not bottled in bond. This isn't age stated. It used to be, back in the day, 10 or 12 years. Not age stated anymore. This one is distilled in Bardstown, Kentucky by Willet Distillery, and the story behind it is when I first got it, I couldn't stand it. It was really sharp. It was, the oak tannin was so bad, I just didn't like it at all. And I regretted buying it because this, in my area, was about 50 some bucks, like $52 or something like that. Well, that's a lot of money wasted for something I didn't like. Well, lo and behold, you hear about bourbons opening up. This one opened up, and it took about 3 months. After 3 months, and maybe my palate changed, could be, but after about 3 months, I got into this thing and absolutely loved it. And I haven't had it for a little while. Again, none of these I've had in a little while, so this ought to be a good home ganger for the bourbon battle. But that's the next one. And the last one we have, and Rowan's Creek is finished in charred oak barrels. The Benchmark and the Bonded, they're The benchmark was about $19. In my area, Old Grandad, the bonded is about $24 to $26. Both of those are just bourbon. And there's nothing wrong with that. I say just because they're not finished, they're not double oaked, they're not charred, nothing. They're just straight bourbon, which is awesome. That's fine. And the last one, Joseph Magnus. And this is the straight bourbon finished whiskey. It's finished in 2 different sherry casks. One is Oloroso, one is a Spanish name. I don't know the name, but there's 2 sherry casks and 1 cognac cask. And this one, it's called a triple cask. It's, in my area, we're getting closer to the $70 range. So we're moving up. We got from low to high. We are doing the home ganger. I have 4 bourbons in front of me. Boom, boom. I don't know which one is which. These were poured by my wife, and so I don't know which one is in which one. So we're gonna start left to right. Your right to left. My left to right. That gets confusing. And we're going to go on the nose first. So first one. Oh, I'm getting a little bit right off the bat vanilla. I'm getting some fruity, not Fruit Loops, not Fruity Pebbles, but fruit flavors. Oh man, maybe Fruity Pebbles, now that I said that. There's some honey, but more vanilla, light caramel. A little bit of oak tannin, but second one up. And again, I don't know which bourbon this is, which bottle this is. This one, I'm getting caramel, vanilla, maybe a slight raspberry. Oh, wow, weird. I wouldn't expect this on any of them. Maybe a chocolate covered strawberry, but the chocolate's melted off, or you lick the chocolate off and it's just a little hint of it left on the strawberry. And some vanilla caramel. All right, number 3. Oh, okay, that's vanilla caramel, but like a richer vanilla, like maybe just more vanilla, like a little vanilla extract, but they poured more in here than the other ones. Little bit of baking spice, not a whole lot else going on in there. Got a little like pepper. I say baking spice, but maybe there's a little pepper on it. Okay, number 4. That's a bolder caramel. A little richer vanilla. It's got a tinge on the tongue, almost like a burning sensation, but it's not proof. It's like a cinnamon. That one has like a little more cinnamon. All right, that was the nose. Let's go to the palate. One more thing on this book before I go into the palate. That's Ulfrir. That is the wolf god. And down here, maybe people he likes, maybe people he doesn't like. But that's how big he is compared to people. The little things down there. Ulfrir. And just so you want to get into this book, there is a scene in this book. We talked about battles. I neglected to say this before. Get a god battle. And it's awesome. Let's see if these bourbons are as awesome as that god battle. You know. All right. This one. Going back on the nose before I palate it real quick. Still more baking spice this time. And a little bit of the fruit. A little bit of the, like, dried fruit. That's pretty good. That's a wave of vanilla caramel going down the back of the throat. Finish is good. Well, it's still going. The palate, caramel vanilla right on the tongue. The baking spice went down the side of the throat. I don't know if you can tell. Medium to good viscosity. The legs on that, pretty good. No, I think that's even really good. The juice is just slowly going down the side of the glass. Means it's going to coat very well, usually. The finish is a lot of vanilla. Lot of vanilla. Whatever fruit I had in there before, I still get it on the nose. All right, let's go for a sip too. But I get the top of my tongue is just coated with like a vanilla toffee. And real quick, because I found them, let me see if I can find the vanilla one. I'm not the only bourbon channel that talks about the toffees and the little candies. These are what we're talking about. These little guys right here. They come in different brands, different wrappers, but those little guys, that's what, when I say the toffee candy, that's what I'm talking about. It's just so good. All right, one more drink. Sorry, I'm moving my little bourbon signs down here. Almost a little bit of buttered toast too. Really buttery, really toasty, yummy. All right, new thing this time. Got some oyster crackers. These are the best for diving into between each one, so you kind of, otherwise this first one, that finish is kicking butt. So these oyster crackers, you put them in, they help reset your palate a little bit. Plus they're yummy. Of course, I'm looking at the toffee candy and eating crackers. I don't know what's wrong with me, but okay. And I didn't eat any of the toffee candy before this, so that shouldn't be influencing this at all. Oyster crackers, so good. Had them in soup before, never just eat them. Okay, number two. And this is really confusing for me. You can't see on the camera, but I have all the bottles lined up in a row in front of me with the glasses in front of them. But I don't know which glasses go with which bottle, so it's kind of doing a mind trick on me, because I know that first glass isn't what it's in front of. Oh wow. Okay, on the nose, this is number two. Number two, just a lot deeper, a lot richer. Vanilla caramel. All right, we already did the nose. Let's go bottoms up. Two has a lot more dried fruit on it. On the palate, had it on the glass one had it on the nose. Glass two has it on the palate. It's not as viscous, even though I don't know how easy that is to tell. It looks like it on the glass. Definitely more barrel char. Definitely more barrel char. Richer vanilla than the first one. The complexity, I'd say 1 and 2 are about the same. Let me take another sip. That's like vanilla, honey vanilla rolling with oak. That's what that is. It's more, no, pungent's the wrong word because that sounds bad. It's a little sharper flavor than the first one, but good. And the finish is more, whereas the first one, the finish was all vanilla, toffee and butter on the top of the tongue. This finish is more in the back of the throat, like right down here, all the way down there. It's on the inside right there. That is barrel char spice, light honey. That's what that is. All right, glass number 3. Okay, now I get to glass number 3, and after the first two, the nose kind of seems younger. Younger, lighter, very light, like a light vanilla or a lighter, even honey. The sweetness is honey with maybe a little potpourri. Sometimes I get potpourri and I think maybe it's just light grain. Yeah, I'm getting grain, like grain. Like I'm chewing barley field. Maybe that's a rye spice. One of these is high rye. Which one of that one was that? The Old Granddad Bonded is a high rye mash bill, which means there's more rye in the mash. And for those of you who don't know, mash is the combination of corn, wheats, grains, rye that go into making the whiskeys. I won't go into all that right now, but that's what the mash bill is. Yeah, that's I don't even know if I want to go for number 2. I'll do it anyway. Compared to the other two, that's just light and tangy. Light and tangy. Yeah, not liking that one as much as the other ones right now. All of these on their own, I've had them all on their own, and they're all... No, I haven't had the Benchmark Bonded on its own. All the others I've had on their own, and they stand up pretty good. The Rowan's Creek, after it opened up, stood on its own. Old Granddad Bonded is a great daily for the price. Awesome. People, right? All right. Last one, glass number 4. Yeah, that's more... I'm not getting the light grain that I got on glass 3. It's more the vanilla caramel. This one, if I had to guess, this is one of the bourbony bourbon ones. One of my favorite terms, bourbony bourbon. Not much else there but vanilla, caramel, oak, some spice, some baking spice. A little bit of youth on that. A little bit. Oh, almost the same grain forward as glass. Okay, has a little better finish. 3 and 4 were the same to me until the finish. On the finish, glass 4, it's barrel. It's like I licked the inside of a barrel with after I poured some vanilla and honey on it. Yeah. Light. Just a little more vanilla than I got the first time. Light honey, vanilla, barrel. Not much else going on there. All right, let's take another cracker. I'm going to take 1 sip all of each, and I will put these in the order that. Well, let's just say, are any of these worthy of this book? Really good. Okay, here we go. Holmganger over. Who's the victor? Who's last? Again, let me show you the bottles. We have Benchmark, Bonded, 100 proof, bottled in bond, at least 4 years. Old Granddad, Bonded, 100 proof, at least 4 years, and this was a high rye mash bill. Makes me think one of those grainy ones, because sometimes on the lower end stuff, the rye doesn't taste rye, it tastes grain. Joseph Magnus, top drawer stuff here. Joseph Magnus, famous for their cigar blend, which is kind of one of the unicorns to get. And Rowan's Creek. There's a story behind the creek and the judge who made this bourbon. I won't get into that here because I get into books. Excuse me, I'm sorry. 101 proof, not bottled in bond. We don't know the age statement on either of those two. Again, the Rowan's Creek is finished in charred oak barrels. The Joseph Magnus in 2 different sherries and a cognac. And I'm thinking maybe that's what I'm getting in one of these, in the 1 and 2. Okay, last place is number 2, which is oh, thank goodness it's not the Joseph Magnus. It is last place, lowest. It is Buffalo Trace's bottom shelf and Benchmark series. Like I said, there's a whole series. This is the 100 proof version of it. That is last place. And third place is glass number 3. Glass number 3 is, no surprise, the next level. Hey, we're doing pretty good here. Old Granddad Bonded. Dun dun dun. Second place, number 4, which is glass the drink number 2. And 4 was, oh goodness, 4 was Joseph Magnus. Now I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not making excuses or anything, but 1 and 2, which is glass 1 and 2, which is 4 and 1, that makes Rowan's Creek number 1. I could go back and forth on either one of these, but Rowan's Creek, the bottle that I could not stand, stands victorious today. That is amazing. You would have asked me a couple months ago, 3 months ago, right after I bought that bottle, I would have said I want my money back. Right now, it's the Holmganger King in the Hunger of the Gods. Now, next book isn't even, they haven't, there's no name for it yet. We're not sure when it's coming out. So that series will be, we're going to go higher proof. We're going to go 110 and above on that one whenever it comes out, whenever I read it. I hope like heck it finishes like this. Usually the middle book in a trilogy, and I'm not even sure if this is going to be a trilogy or more. I think it's going to be a trilogy. Most of his first series, The Faithful and the Fallen, was 4 books. But if this is a trilogy and this is a middle book, this is the best middle book since The Two Towers in the Fellowship of the Rings, or the Lord of the Rings. It's so good. And so good tonight. Rowan's Creek. So cheers. Thank you all for watching, and can't wait to see you next time. Next time, because that book isn't out, we're going to probably be going into a different series, so can't wait to see you there, and have a good night.